Excited to be here. So why don't we just start off with if Sarah and Lydia, if you could maybe just tell a little bit about yourself and your role at Samsung.
Sure. So I'm Sarah Larsen. I'm Chief Marketing Officer of Samsung Home Entertainment. So underneath marketing is every consumer touch point that you could think of in the US for anything related to Samsung TVs, audio, or memory.
Good morning. My name is Lydia Cho. I run the TV product marketing business at Samsung Electronics. That really consists of determining what products are here in the US, the go to market strategies within our retail partners, as well as our promotional strategies, go to market, and so forth, working closely with Sarah on how we grow and manage our business together.
Yeah, so if we think about where we start off, it's interesting. We've been talking so much about marketing in the last couple of days. So let's think about from your product standpoint. So when you say a Samsung AI TV, what does that mean to me as a consumer if I buy one of these? Well, what should I expect from that?
Yeah, so actually, what was really exciting the past couple months, we just launched our new 2024 lineup of Samsung products. We had a very big event that I'm going to let probably Sarah talk about in a little bit. But when we talk about AI and TV, and Samsung, Samsung really has been the leader of AI, and we've started off with our mobile devices. Within our TV lineup this year, right, there's a lot of confusion about what AI is, but AI within our TV products, we've launched within our flagship Neo QLED 8K products built into the actual hardware, an AI algorithm within, and we're calling it's a long feature, long naming, but it's our NQ8 A3 Gen 3 processor that has an algorithm built into it to upscale any of your content, whether you're watching full HD content all the way up to 8K quality. So it's really exciting. It's a new thing that we built into all of our 8K products this year. So you can really see the difference. Now, that's really from a product picture quality content. When you go into the actual details of what our TVs do, anybody like watching sports here? Right, if you're watching golf, if you're watching soccer, sometimes the ball moves super fast and you really can't see the ball move. What we've built into our TVs is a technology. It's called our AI Motion Enhancer Pro. The TV is going to automatically figure out what sport you're watching and actually make sure that the ball is not distorted and you can actually see the ball zip through on the TV. So there's a lot of those types of little things that we've thought of within our products. I'm not personally a gamer, but we've seen a lot of people interested as we've launched our new OLED products these past few years. We've launched a 42 and a 48 inch, which we have never done so far in this category, but we're targeting more gamers, and the message that we're giving them is also an AI auto game mode. So again, I'm not a gamer, but but I think my husband is, and there's a lot of Call of Duty going on. If there's a genre or the actual name of the game that pops up while you turn on your TV and you're playing your game, the TV will recognize the genre of the game, that it's a first-hand shooting game, and it'll actually change the settings of the TV to actually make sure that the dark scenes are a little bit brighter so you can win your game. It'll also have like a little pinpoint. You could make it a cross, you could make it a star as to help you do the shooting in the games as well. So we have a lot of these little things that we've built into our 2024 lineup where we're super excited about. So that's just a little bit into our new 2024 lineup for this year.
That's actually super cool. So if you think about it, I'm kind of the geeky guy, so I have to go in and change the settings for different things I'm looking at. And I just saw the big Call of Duty Black Ops 6 billboards in Times Square. So yeah, because there's nothing like walking into someone's TV. Like we go to my mother-in-law's house. It's a really nice TV. But whatever the settings are, it looks like everything's on a camcorder from the 80s. It's like a horrible picture because no one knows how to do that. So so Sarah, if you think about it, how do you market this to people? So I'm not your target customer because I know about AI, but how do you let people know, be aware of this, and how do you think about the campaigns to show the advantages and things like that?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is I'm sure you've been hearing about AI and marketing nonstop the last few days, but it's how do you market AI that we're really looking at. So Lydia brought up some great points of some really cool features and what they do. What we found is when it comes to consumers' adoption of any sort of new technology, if you get too deep into the techs and specs, unless you're Chris, but otherwise, the average consumer gets very overwhelmed and it almost becomes a turnoff. So, what we have found is we really need to speak in simple language and what's in it for them. Like at the end of the day, that's what a shopper cares about. Show me how this AI fancy name feature that Lydia just rolled right off her tongue. Show me how that makes my life better. How is your TV going to help me multitask? I don't want AI to do the creative writing or the art that I love doing as a creative outlet. I want AI to do my laundry and empty the dishes so I have more time to do that creative side. So, for our products, when it comes to marketing it, we really lean heavily into how AI is making your lives easier, better, more convenient, more enjoyable. So, whether it's these features that automatically upscale your TV so you don't have to know how to set them to get the best picture quality, or whether it's through smart things and connectivity, where while you're watching a show, we were talking about it earlier, your TV can tell you, oh, your washer's done, it needs to be moved to the dryer. And you can just know that that's when you have to go do it. It's that kind of smart innovation that Samsung's really big on. One of my favorite parts about working for our company is that when it comes to innovation, we don't innovate as a result of what consumers need. We innovate before consumers realize it's a need. And I think that distinction is really important because that helps in our marketing when we're telling a story like, hey, you have this common problem. We know it. We have it too. We're all consumers and shoppers in addition to wearing our professional hats. Here's how we solved it for you. And here's how your TV is going to make your life easier. That's
Yeah,
what we really have to
it,
lean into.
yeah, it's just totally true because whenever I go to CES, I always make sure I go to the Samsung booth. It's always like some cool, like, I might have work stuff at CES, but then I just find an afternoon just to wander around to find stuff that has nothing to do with my day job. And I think that's really it. How do you get in features that you don't even think about? Think about there's AI for making your photos look good or make the TV look good. It's awesome. So, what kind of challenges are you seeing about AI marketing out of people? What kind of questions do people have?
Yeah, I think there are quite a few barriers to an acceptance of AI as something people embrace as part of their lives. The first is the fear factor. We certainly recognize, thanks to like a lot of previous TV shows back from the 80s where AI was robots that were going to come in and take over your lives. So people, though, have real concerns, particularly about privacy when it comes to AI. We have something called Knox security that we talk about a lot when we talk about why you should buy a Samsung product. Knox security ensures that your privacy is protected no matter what type of AI you're using. So your information is not getting out there. So one, it's dealing with the fear factor. And then two, it's really the education. There's a huge barrier of understanding and acceptance of it. So we really focus heavily on that end benefit for consumers and telling them why this is going to make their life better, how this is going to make their life better, giving practical examples and use cases, and using third parties to tell that story instead of it just coming from us. So we have a lot of great tech media reviews and even lifestyle media that aren't necessarily super techy, but they get the end benefit, and it's sharing more of that.
Yeah, it's really the personal stories. Like, it's really the storytelling because I know From a Microsoft standpoint too, it's like the ads you will see on TV. It's always a storyteller. There's everything from the Super Bowl ads about what we're doing for an ALS patient to here. It's always about that end consumer and how that actually has an impact, and it's just not about the technology. So Lydia, so if you think about everything with AI, where do you think AI is going in all these products as you look? We're Microsoft. We look at things on a semester basis. So if you think about it, when I started at Microsoft, people would come and say, Microsoft, we want to see your 5-year roadmap. And now we're on semesters like college. We can tell you what's coming next semester. If you tell me what's going to be a year from now, I have no idea.
I mean, I think that's common in technology, right? As we're still evolving. I can't share everything, but we just did a review on 2025, right? And our strategies and AI is top priority for us, as I think you will see at CES as well. So I think a lot of the things that we're going to be working on is what Sarah mentioned, how are we going to relate it to a consumer's life, right? And how are we going to build in AI to make it easier for you to do your daily duties, do your daily routines, work, right? Your health benefits. And even a sneak peek of that, of what we've already done, is even within our 837. And I don't know if you guys have been to the Samsung store on 837 Washington, where each of the modules that are built out, it's really about your home, right, your workplace, and how all of our products are already through AI working with each other through our smart things capabilities, right? I think Sarah touched base on just one of them earlier about, your laundry telling you what to do or when it's done, right? And even within our outdoor products, our indoor products, like just all of it together. So I think there's more to come, a little bit more of what we see across categories, as again, because our products work together, and our mobile business as well as our home appliance business and now our home entertainment businesses are really working together. So I think just a sneak peek is just what you're seeing in other categories. I think down in the future, you're going to see a lot of that resonate with each other.
I think it's interesting when you think about it. Like, I know certain people, right? Like there's a good friend of mine at Microsoft. He's a Samsung guy. So he's got the phone, he connects it into his car and everything else. And it's just those little things like, if you're watching a TV and I'm watching something else and it pops up and lets me know, hey, the Yankees are in a close game, or this, like, oh, maybe I want to flip over there, and how everything that interconnected lifestyle. It's just interesting. We were chatting at dinner, and like, just imagine, I know how to read a map, but just imagine if GPS went down. Like, could people actually find their way home and things like
Not
that?
our children.
Oh, actually, we can tell this, but my wife's BFF, her daughter can't get home from her job without a GPS, and she went to the wrong town. So she actually went to Norfolk instead of Chesapeake, Virginia. It's true. It's like, it's crazy. So Sarah, if you think about it, there's a lot of technology and products. So you're putting AI in there and AI marketing. What do you think the future is as these things combine together? And how do you see Samsung using not just your products, but maybe AI and the marketing aspect and that together?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we've been talking about, that connectivity story, we're going to, as Lydia alluded to, see so much more of an evolution. And for us, being market leaders, our TV brand's been #1 for 18 years. Like, that's a record in itself. We have a responsibility to really be pioneers and leading the conversations around future technology as well as present technology, and AI obviously features heavily in that. So we've made a conscientious effort when it comes to connectivity to be brand agnostic. So yes, of course, we want you to buy all of our products, and they are better for a myriad of reasons that I could sit up here and tell you about. But what we also recognize is you have different products in your house. You shouldn't be precluded from using those products together because they don't all have the same brand name. We're not going to go out and, like, I don't know, create a charger that only works with one product from a certain company. Like, that just would feel very limiting. So what we do with our Smart Things app is it's brand agnostic. As long as any product in your house is Matter enabled, you can connect all of them. So like, I come in and I'll say, Google, turn on the lights. which then connects through my smart things and the light bulbs that are Philip Hue. And it's a bunch of different brands that aren't all Samsung, but I can on my TV see all of them. In fact, our TVs this year and moving forward will continue to have, when you first buy your TV and you bring it home and you plug it in, it will map it does now. It maps every smart device in your house, and it will ask you if you want to connect, and you just click a button and say yes. And then you can seamlessly control all of them through your TV. So it's just smart, intuitive, but also very equitable ways of making sure that our technology is talking to each other.
So when you think about, the technology across different demographics, I think this is interesting because when I talk to my brother, who's I don't know how old he is these days, but anyway, my younger brother, he's not a technology guy, right? So he's he runs a country club in Philadelphia, so it's like his phone is as much as he has, right? Maybe he's starting to get a smart TV. But if you think about the different areas, where do you think the entry points are, and how do you market to those different areas? Do you think to embrace AI? Because certain things I'm not worried about Terminator, but those robot things scare the crap out of me, right? When I see those things jump around and chase people. So how do you think it works across demographics and as you try to find the entry points for your different products?
Yeah, so it's an interesting point that you bring up. Obviously, segmentation is huge in any of our marketing that we're doing. So we have very different personas that we market to, and we actually map products to specific personas based on consumer behavior and shopping intent. So when it comes to younger generations, so we always used to refer to younger generations as MZ, and then we were all talking about, well, Gen Z, and now it's all Zalpha that we talk about because of the combination. They are definitely a generation that is a DIY. They do not want people to tell them how to fix something. They want to go and figure it out themselves. So rather than instructing them, we empower them with all the resources and tools to be able to DIY their own information, troubleshooting, as well as just education. Now, we have a responsibility, just like being market leaders when it comes to AI, for providing the right information. I don't know if anyone in here has any children in the Gen Alpha age range. I have Z and Alpha, and they literally will tell me I'm wrong all the time. And when I ask what their source is, it's TikTok. So there is definitely some responsibility that you're putting correct information out there. But I think it's recognizing what your target demographics behavior is and then mapping back to that versus like for HE, home entertainment, our sweet spot is 40 to 49-year-olds. So how someone in their 40s is shopping and how they're sourcing information is wildly different than someone who's 17.
Oh yeah. It's think of things like I live here in New York, so if you're a New Yorker, you know about Wirecutter and where you actually get recommendations. If you read the New York Times, that's where hey, what's the best TV? What's the best whatever? But and I talk to my, my Gen Z colleagues, no, they're getting their reviews somewhere else. So that's great. So I think we have a few more minutes. I think we maybe take some time for some questions from the crowd. Anyone have any questions, comments? Or we can chat some more. Yeah.
Products and everything. Hello? Awesome. So my question was basically, there's so many ecosystems out there. Like Apple has its own ecosystem and they try to keep everybody in that ecosystem. Amazon has it, Samsung has it and everything. There's so many ecosystems. Do you see AI in some way, shape, or form unifying those where these ecosystems can kind of work together and kind of like funnel up into it so it's easy? Or do you see companies taking AI rather than to unify all these ecosystems together to actually just expand and actually kind of like put up walls even deeper, kind of go down that rabbit hole even more? So rather than like Apple using it to like, oh, well, I want to, still be able to work with all these other ecosystems? No, we're just going to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. Sarah mentioned Matter earlier, so I don't know if everybody's aware of Matter, but it's sort of the new Bluetooth, right? Ish, but on steroids, right? Because there's so many devices now, and actually there are many devices that are Matter enabled that people aren't advertising just yet. So yes, I do think that if the technology company is on board, right? Which I think majority are, maybe not one, with the technologies that are enabled in the devices, whether it be basic as Wi-Fi, 7, 8 to come, right? Bluetooth, Matter, smart things also. I think there's over now, and the last time I checked, it was over 1 billion. But that number keeps growing on how many products are enabled within smart things. And I think Matter is going to even become more than that. So when we talk about AI, I think the products today that are out there already are enabled. We as market leaders are not doing a good job on talking about how they are working so well together, right? That's sort of one of the strategies and why Samsung has, I mentioned 837 again, but that is a reason why we have 837. We partnered with Philips Hue as well from a lighting company. But I personally have a Ring doorbell. And on my Samsung refrigerator, which has a screen, I'm in the kitchen and my driveway is pretty long, so I can't see who's at the door because they do have a gate. I can see on my Ring doorbell on my refrigerator on who's at the door and talk to them and be like, well, leave the package or whatnot, right? So there's so many products out there that are already enabled. I just see it becoming more and more capable within the products in the future. So.
Yeah, I agree. And to your question, we really feel it's important that we open up the communication and the ecosystem. We don't want it to be closed circuit because we'll be hurting ourselves in the long run. Plus, I really think it's a disservice to consumers to create something and say, okay, now this only works if you have X, Y, and Z from us as well. So we actually did some consumer research around this, obviously, because it's such a hot area. And what we found was a little bit shocking that even though our products talk to other brands, the number one barrier for consumer adoption was they thought they had to have all Samsung to make it work. So we do have some features, like when you use our soundbar with our TV, it unlocks an even more amazing sound experience because they talk to each other directly. However, you can use our soundbar with any TV and it still will work as a soundbar should and have a surround sound system. So it's almost like we keep a little bit of enhancement for staying in the family, but we don't want to be exclusive.
Yeah, I think what's interesting too, and I don't think we talked about it here, is when you start thinking about AI, and I don't think anyone's here has talked about agents yet. So if you think about AI, all these systems will have APIs to interact. Now, what we're seeing now is you remember once used to a bot. So instead of a bot, think about this as an agent, and you can have an orchestrator agent talking to other AI agents to do stuff for you and do research. Like there's some very cool stuff happening with agents in like research for different things. So once again, when you think of the underlying AI to help tie things together, an agent orchestrating, talking to other agents who might be tying into other systems to orchestrate something for you. So that's probably more on the integration side. That's probably gonna be someone who offers something to do the integration, right? Like I don't know if they still sell the universal remotes back in the day, but things like that. But that's if you think about where AI is going, like that is the thing we're seeing, like assistants and agents talking to agents and creating these meshes, which, once again, you have to look at it. If you just hear it like that, you're probably terrified and it's going to be Skynet and, Schwarzenegger's coming in as a Terminator. But that's actually where we're seeing this and seeing real progress. And we're actually working with customers right now, building out these for different industries. So that's kind of like underneath the covers of AI. And then that could actually, imagine me coming in and I have a whole house and other stuff that can orchestrate against. Any other? Yeah.
Hold on. You're talking about AI kind of deploy consumer products, but like a lot of this conference has been about how AI gets deployed across an organization and how you get internal adoption. And I'm sure there's like internal use cases as well. You use it in your marketing. How do you deploy? Is there an AI person or an AI group that is cross-function? How does it get deployed within Samsung broadly?
Yeah, so it depends the use case. When it comes to AI across marketing, that's really something I, with my marketing counterparts on the other lines of business, have a lot of conversations about. What is our AI standard? What's okay? Can I have AI generated art and creative, that sort of stuff? When it comes to AI and products, there is a whole AI task force, and obviously our engineers, our product planners are heavily involved in that because they're thinking what's next, and they come up with ideas that I couldn't even imagine. And it's like just their midnight thinking. So it's definitely getting more and more of a focus. And then with that also comes a commonality of definition and defining what AI is. I mean, I saw some ad that was talking about a soda can as AI. Like, give me a break. But yesterday I was actually, I was in Minneapolis meeting with one of our big retailers with their CMO to talk about the future of AI and how are we messaging this and how are we talking about it. So I think there's a great need for common definitions and across the industry as a whole, especially when it comes to AI and products, is some sort of guidelines or universal standards. So you can't just say everything is AI.
Yeah, and if you think about adoption inside of companies, we're seeing different things. So what we really see is a lot of, and I'll probably talk more on the enterprise side. You'll see governance. You'll see AI councils. You'll see governance they're putting in to say what actually happened. So there's governance to say what you could actually do. But at the end of the day, people don't like change, and they got to have value. Like, I use Teams Copilot because it saves me a lot of time. You have to give people value of why are you doing it. So it's just not for technology's sake. If there's value to make me more efficient and faster, that's what it. Then people will adopt. So there's got to be education. They got to see real value. Like, just because you want me to do this, I'm not going to get any value. It might increase my time by 20% because I know how to do this, but maybe it doesn't. So I think that's a big case, and you'll see councils, lawyers get involved. Let me tell you, like, so many use cases, like, all right, we have to go talk to a lawyer. And this also allows you to have conversations with people who aren't deep in AI. Like, when I talk to a lawyer about a first gen AI use case, I got to put it in simple language. You can't go super down here. Like, make this simple, how they understand, and then they can buy off and get the fears out of it. So that's a question over here.
Hi, you touched briefly on data privacy in all of this interconnectedness, but you do have an ads business. An ads business.
Ads.
You are selling advertising.
I thought you said something.
So how are you thinking about, do you have a strategy for how are you talking to consumers? Because you are using that information. So how do you talk to consumers about how that gets used in marketing to them?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite understanding your question.
So the Samsung ads business is using all of that information that you're collecting to target consumers. So what's the transparency there for a Samsung product owner?
Got it. Sorry. So Samsung Ads, just to be clear, is separate from Samsung Electronics. So that's a separate company for us. So I really can't speak on behalf of what their practices are. I know for me, for marketing with my team and the access to consumer information that we have, we very carefully and closely not just follow the guidelines, but we take it a step beyond when it comes to privacy to make sure that all the disclosures and all of the privacy is kept to the highest standards. That's incredibly important to us. And even our own internal privacy, we have higher firewalls and higher privacies than almost any other brand I've ever worked with. Even it drives my agencies crazy because I can't even get a Dropbox because that doesn't pass our firewall. So for us as a company, privacy is incredibly important, and we want to safeguard that every step of the way.
And I think Samsung Ads, because I work with the team a lot because I'm selling the hardware and they're in my hardware, right? So we, and I know not personally but our headquarters in Korea does go through all of the legal aspects through each subsidiary. So when I say subsidiary, each country, to make sure, right, we're very open and upfront about what we're doing with either the data that we're collecting. We obviously don't share it or sell it, or right. So I think that's all covered when you first actually install your TV. There's a lot, I'm sure, of T's and C's that a consumer has to go through. But like our intent is not to be like, okay, well, we sort of put this over and you accepted, but you're throwing your life away, right? So I think we're very cautious of that. Sarah mentioned like legal is on us all the time about everything we do, like from even model codes, right? When it comes down to things. So again, not speaking on behalf of the Samsung Ads teams, but because they are a part of our company, I am sure that they have the same standards that we would have to go through.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
We come back quickly to the kids who tell us we're wrong all the time. Mine only watch TV on this. So how do you prepare for a future with the 18-year-olds or the 49?
I love that question. And it's honestly a debate that we have all the time because our other lines of business target different audiences. So like mobile definitely targets a younger demographic. And I often get a lot of pressure with my budget to make sure I'm using it to future-proof us, which I do want to. However, my comeback is always, we don't know how a current 12-year-old is going to be watching TV or watching a show or consuming entertainment when they're 25 or 35. So we have to carefully thread that needle to make sure we're reaching out to them and we're engaging with them and we're introducing them to our ecosystem in a way that's very appropriate for the demographic without alienating or isolating an older demographic. And conversely, we can't go all in on 40 to 49-year-olds and completely ignore future generation. So it is definitely tricky. I will say everything that my team does is based on insights, and we make a big point of looking at the research and not the me search. And Lydia knows because we'll sit in many meetings and Lydia will say, well, I don't know. I don't like that. Or I'm just feeling like this isn't right. And we'll have a debate about, yeah, I feel it too. However, all of our research is showing that this is right. So we have to make sure we're balancing our gut with what the numbers are saying. But yeah, we definitely need to try and trend spot how we think TV watching is going to change in the future. I actually think that's why advertising is so fascinating. And you mentioned Samsung Ads. I think all of these new platforms, especially retail advertising, we are getting into a world where consumers are so wonderfully savvy. You can't traditionally market to them anymore. So we have to keep innovating and thinking about what are new platforms. All right, you're watching TV and an ad shows up on your TV, but should it be a product integration? Because a lot of the ads there aren't as much linear TV happening in that same way, shape, or form. And especially younger audiences, they're on TikTok all the time. Do we advertise on TikTok and then they're going to start realizing that you boosted their organic TikTok and they don't believe it anymore? So it's something I don't think any of us can solve right now. Actually, if you can, come talk to me because I'm hiring. But in reality, I think it's fascinating and pretty much why I love what I do, because we can't predict what's going to happen, but we can make really educated guesses.
I have to add about products because I am a product person, but we have a vast variety of products that we've figured out on how to target. So we have a product called the Freestyle that you can take it on the go. It's perfect. I have nieces and nephews that are arms, which is a small projector that could shoot up to 100 inches anywhere in your ceiling, on the floor, in your bathroom, right? And you just connect it with your buds, right? Or whatever device you're using, and you can listen to it in your dorm room or whatnot. So we have a
You
lot
can
of
game on it,
You
which
can-
we see a lot of. You don't need a console. You can
Xbox is built in, right? So there's a lot of things that we have as we do our marketing and go after the right audience with the right message. We have a vast majority of products that we can also tend to the right demographics as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to add a product thing just because you said it now. You opened the door. So our big thing is screens for all, that we have customization in all of our products. We have a product that's actually called Zero, and it's a TV that's a normal horizontal profile, but you can cast from your phone to it, and the TV itself automatically rotates to the right format based on what you're watching on your phone. So like for a TikTok format, your TV will rotate to be vertical so that you can watch it in the same way. And we've seen kids actually pair that TV with the freestyle. Well, they'll project like their favorite music video or something, and they'll be watching it and dancing in the front of it like they're the lead singer and all the dancers are their backup. I mean, the future is so based on ingenious consumer use cases that we didn't even think of. But I have like a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, and what they come up with the product, it's sometimes things that I come into the office and I'll be like, all right, I have a new idea. It might have come from my 17-year-old, but it's actually good.
Oh, cool. So actually, we're at have to stop right here. We're a little bit over time, and also I like to map that to vision degradation as you age to see if you go to a bigger screen. But anyway, different kind of research. But no, thanks a lot. This has been super interesting. I think we'll all be around for a little while. So thanks again for the time.